Good morning. It's that time again. It's time to join us, me, Susan, and friends, and we'll talk about Voices in Vegas. I'm Susan Feldman, and if you're tuning in for the first time, lucky you. You have just discovered your favorite new show. And today we have a great show. If you're already a friend of Voices, sorry about that. If you are already a friend of ours, then welcome back. Love to see you.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, April.
Hi, good morning, Susan. How are you?
I'm good. And today we have Jocelyn.
We have Jocelyn Paige Kelly.
Hello.
From Helen, a literary magazine.
Let me see yeah.
Yep, sir.
Hey, good
We have
morning.
literary representation in the house. I love it.
I love it.
It's
I
fabulous.
don't think we have enough, literary kind of people in Vegas. Sorry, but really,
I said
love
the same
people.
thing.
We're growing.
Yeah. Because, reading is fundamental.
It is. Yes.
And if you can read, you can do anything.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about you.
Okay.
Where did you grow up?
I'm actually from Las Vegas. My parents moved, and we moved here when I was about 7, and so I grew up here basically. So I consider myself pretty much a native.
So you're an indigenous person. Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I did move away for a while. Lived in California for about 10 years, and then I lived in North Carolina for about 3, and then I came back home.
Nice.
My Odyssey trip, as I like to call it.
How fun. I think traveling is a great educator. You know?
Absolutely.
You learn so much. I bet you just... Tell me, what's your favorite book?
Wow.
Just a classic.
A classic.
Yeah, that you would recommend. What book would
Your
you recommend?
go-to.
Your go-to book.
Oh, geez. There's just so many.
No, but let's say somebody's like a teenager, or maybe they don't read a lot, but they
Okay.
want to get into reading. So you don't want to give them something like War and Peace.
Something to make them fall in love with reading.
Yes.
Fall in love with the written word.
I'll let you think on that one.
Okay, because there's like several writers that I'm thinking of, but I'm trying to think of their novels.
Okay, names one of who's your favorite author?
My favorite writer is Nadine Gordimer.
Nadine Gordimer. I've never heard of her.
She's actually won a Nobel,
Peace Prize.
not Peace Prize, but Prize for Literature. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pulitzer?
Pu-
Pulitzer Prize?
No, not Pulitzer. It's the Nobel.
Oh,
okay.
what
Yeah.
kind of
Nobel.
subjects does she write about?
She writes. She's from South Africa, and she writes about a lot of social and political stuff. She's also been a short story writer. I'm trying to think of the name. Oh, July's People. How could I not?
July's People. I'm going to have to pick up that book.
Well, people will be able to find that on our website.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. I do a lot of reading, and I read all kinds of stuff. And recently I got a list
Oh wow.
about, and do you have any kids?
No, I don't.
Okay, well then you'll be a great. So you're my aunt, Jocelyn.
that's right.
I love aunts.
Aunt Jocelyn.
I love my aunt.
I love it.
I love my Aunt Susan. My Aunt Susan Halmy. Oh my goodness. I think aunts are even funner than mothers. But anyway, listen, I also found this list, and it's about 10 things that you should never say to your kids. What do you think about that?
Ooh, interesting.
Do you think that's interesting?
Yeah,
Were there things that your mother said to you that you just...
Oh yeah, things that I would not have.
I think parental bargaining is dangerous. Lose 5 pounds and I'll get you this, or
Oh,
do
yes.
this and I'll do that for you. I mean, even though I am guilty of doing that myself, do your homework before 7 and we'll have pizza.
Yeah, but a little bit of bribery
you know?
isn't bad. You should reward your children for doing good.
But
Yeah.
self-esteem bargaining I find is really dangerous, especially for young girls and young boys. It's like for young children in general.
Absolutely.
So I think this list was interesting because it was kind of like they say, they suggest, and I'm like, not so much with this list. But I thought you as a nurse would find it really interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we learn about this in pediatrics.
interesting.
And a lot of these things, the suggestions, I want to go into the suggestions because I don't want to tell people how not to do things. I like to set an example.
Absolutely.
So really what we learned in nursing school was that, there's a Jedi mind trick that goes on with people. And if you say to like your child, instead of like, you have to exercise, say, you want to come on a walk with me. It's a beautiful day. You love to exercise,
Yeah.
And they don't even know that it's happening.
It's true.
Or you love vegetables. Junk food, you can't stand it. It always works. But it's the same thing with like great job. If they've done something that you rocks your world, be honest.
Well, that's one of them. It says the first one is great job. And, they say saying things like "good girl" or "way to go" every time. Let's see. Every time they master a skill, when good affirmation rather than, relying on their own motivations. It's like you're affirming them. So you want them to be confident and self-motivated.
Also to separate the child from their behavior.
Right.
Because you may not like their behavior, but you still love your child.
Right.
So that it's not, I'm not judging you good or bad.
But if it's not a great job.
I'm going to come in and say, hey.
If it's not a great job.
Do you see this thing is still leaking?
Yeah, exactly. Is
this thing supposed to be hanging off here?
I say, do you think it's a great job?
Yeah. My parents always used to say that. If it's good enough for you, which then added the guilt.
It's a good job? And then they look and they're like, and then what he'll usually say to me is, well, I'm not quite finished. And I'm like, okay, well, then I checked too early. Then I'll circle back. We'll put a pin in it.
Yeah.
I'd come back. But yeah, I think that saying great job when it's really not a great job.
Yeah, that's
when they just shoved everything in the drawer instead of maybe folded it or whatnot. I mean, I'm not that strict to start with, but it was an example. But I think,
But, eventually my sister-in-law, Susan Knopf, always says, I'm not raising children, I'm raising adults. And, her children are incredibly self-sufficient, lovely children, because they realize they've taken personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
And that is really, every kid wants to get, they always want to break out and be independent. And this is a great way for them to learn how to be independent.
And take pride in everything you do.
Yeah.
That's
and how to live. Eventually they're going to get married and live with other people. They have to learn how to, get along and go along.
Well, I tell Max, Don't you
agree? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was some more on that list? More on that list.
Oh, and then hurry up. The minute I would say to my kids, hurry up, that's when their feet become lead.
That's true.
Because they're going to show me,
bricks.
You can't make me do what. So I always would do the Jedi mind trick of saying, who can get in the car first?
Yeah.
And also transitioning from one activity to another. Yeah. It wasn't, Sam, we have to leave now. It was always, oh, Sam, we have to go because we got to go to Toys R Us.
Yeah, exactly.
That would get him in the car.
Now, this is one that, as a nurse, I want to know your opinion. You're okay. You're okay. They skin their knee. You're okay. You're fine.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're not so fine. If they're crying, there's a reason the tears are there.
Yeah. And really what to start the whole thing off is acknowledging that something scary happened to them.
That fall must have been really scary, falling off that curb.
Yeah. And then you get their mind. Then they know that you're on their side, as opposed to...
It must have been terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, my God,
we have to call 911.
But then the flip side, people say it's like if you don't react, they don't react. Like when a baby falls and you're like, oh, no, the baby starts to cry. If you're like, oops.
Yeah.
It's like...
Oh, the mother's reaction. Yeah, sure.
And you smile.
But that's true of anything, of even if somebody does fall down. In nursing, you never say, I know how you feel. No, nobody can know how you feel.
Right. You
can kind of understand how they're feeling, but you can't know. That's such an individual thing.
Yeah, and Jocelyn, you must get like submissions, and we'll go into this more.
Okay.
But when somebody asks you, oh, did you get that? Did you like it? Did you think it was okay? And maybe it wasn't exactly what you were looking for, or out of your radar of attraction of what you needed. Yeah. How do you deal with that? I mean, do you really look at them and say it's okay, or do you just give them the brutal truth? It's like it's just not what we're looking for right now. Do you have a standard?
I've learned from experience that when people ask for feedback, I don't give it to them.
Because you're a very smart woman.
Because usually they don't want to know the truth. And even if I put it in the most kindest way, especially if they're new, it's hard. Rejection is hard. So I'm very formal.
What do you say then? I mean, what words do you, because that can be very helpful in life in general to our listeners. It's like if you do not really want to react, you're like, I'm kind of taking the fifth on this. This is something that you should probably read over again and find your voice.
Well, there's a couple different types of rejections that we send out. One is we're not really looking for this right now, or we're not the market for this, which is true for a lot of stuff because sometimes we're just not the niche for it.
Great words.
And then sometimes we'll say stuff like, actually buy an issue because they're not reading our magazine
Right. They're just
enough
like,
to know what and they're trying to get in. So
Great
trying to
words.
encourage them.
How often is Helen published?
We're biannual.
Annual. And
so
where can we pick up a copy?
You can pick them up at 3 places currently: the Writer's Block, Jana's Red Room, and Books Are Books.
and hopefully we'll be seeing them spread out
Yes.
way
Yeah.
Yes,
more.
there's another one tentative that
Yes.
we're about to add soon.
So we can get more places so people can,
Yes.
read.
Yes, and you can pick them up at the Vegas Valley Book Festival on October 17th,
That's
Saturday.
right.
October
I'll be there.
17th, the Las Vegas Valley
Book Festival.
Book Festival. And where is it going to be?
Historic Fifth Street School, downtown.
Okay.
That's the Fifth Street School, right?
Yes.
That's a great place.
And
Yeah.
that's October 17th. Is
Yes.
it all day?
It's from 10 to about 5:30, I believe.
10 to 5:30.
And that's a Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll come
October
down and do some
17th.
shout outs and
Oh,
whatnot
that'd
and
be
do
great.
something
Oh,
for
that would
Helen,
be
get them on the
fun.
show and
Okay,
do
cool.
some video. And
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
we'll definitely do
wonderful.
it.
Let's do that. Let's
I'll-
put that on the calendar.
It's
So
on
you
mine.
can join us October 17th at the Las Vegas Valley Book Fair.
Awesome.
And Jocelyn will be there.
Yes, I will.
And will you be signing books and magazines?
I will be at a panel. There's a panel from 11:45 to 12:15. It's Industry Insights Local Literary Magazines. I'll be on it with James
on.
Joseph Brown, Gregory Robinson from 300 Days of Sun, Brett Fenlinson from Witness, and Erica Vital Lazar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but she's from Red Rock Review. So it's all.
I want to go to
journals.
this. I really
Absolutely.
want to go to this. And I'm going to bring some of my AOPI sorority sisters too.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's such a great presence for Helen and Jocelyn. And Jocelyn's so fabulous. When I met her,
Oh,
I could have
thank
spent,
you.
I could have spent the whole day with her.
I know we spent like 2 hours. I think
We could have. And it's so funny because I've had like these little projects in between, and I'm like, I just need to get through this. It's kind of like getting through the poppy field of Oz, to get to the Emerald City so I can address all this. So it's been really exciting to be able to,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to do some fun work together.
yeah.
And so I'm really excited to be, a part of such a amazing thing. I told her, we have the Paris Review in our backyard,
Yeah.
and
Aw.
when I saw that, I'm like, wow. And when I first saw it a couple of months ago, and it takes a ramping up process in Las Vegas,
does,
and you're
yeah.
wondering if someone's going to be around, and they just grew and grew. And I was reading online and reading all this great flash fiction, as they call it,
Yeah.
and all this great stuff on their website. It's give us the website. What's the website?
It's helenpresents.com.
You've got to go to this website.
Helen Presents.
Presents.
Oh,
Helen
Presents.
Yes.
Okay.
.com.
I just love the name Helen.
It's just such a it's such a beautiful site. It's such a beautiful
Thank you.
magazine.
Thank you.
There's such terrific, there's writing, there's art. It's a vehicle that Las Vegas
Do
doesn't
you have haikus?
We haven't published any haikus yet.
Okay, well, we got haikus.
Because we have Mary Jo in the know that's calling in
and
at
she
around
has. And
9:30.
I'd like you to. Well, it's on our website, but we'll let you.
Okay.
I love because Reiki.
Yeah,
comes from
yeah, I
Japan,
love haikus.
and you love Reiki.
Yeah.
And so haikus are really a great way of expressing. I mean, it's a simple, easy way of
Yes.
expressing your feelings.
we call
Yes.
them haikus.
Haikus, yes. Susan and friends.
Susan and
we
friends.
have haikus.
So it is 1:15. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to give some love to our sponsor. We'll be right back with Voices in Vegas with Jocelyn and Susan and friends. We'll be right back.
Come on, friends. Welcome back to Voices in Vegas with Susan and my fabulous friends. Hi, April.
Hey, Susan.
And look, we have Jocelyn
Yeah, we do
here
have Jocelyn
from
here. I'm
Helen
excited.
Magazine.
Hello.
Publisher and owner. Oh, I just love that.
Well,
you're
thank you.
publisher and editor?
I'm a publisher and a founding editor because I founded the magazine. so.
Fabulous. And when did you found this magazine?
The actual date is May 15th, 2014.
That's great. I think that we should let our listeners know that they can call in right now and ask.
Oh,
questions.
yeah. Hey, especially I want to do a shout out again for my girls at UMC, Labor and Delivery, Seventh Heaven.
Absolutely.
I want those nurses to call in.
702-483-3333. That's
got that.
702-483-3333.
Perfect.
Wonderful. We got calls?
We got a call?
Oh, I thought, okay.
I was like, yeah, that's where I'm looking. I'm looking there.
Oh, did I say the wrong number? Oh, Let's scratch that and try that again. 702-483-4444. Somebody's gonna be getting crank calls.
Mercury is retrograde,
Yes.
so we always
Yes,
have
we're
to
in the
do
height
it.
of it, aren't we?
It's
Oh,
in Uranus.
man.
So it's 702-483-4444. And I was staring right at the sign, and I'm like, and I saw 3333.
Can I mention quickly
That
about
is
the
an
full
angel
moon?
thing.
Oh, yeah, please do.
I worked last Sunday, and I delivered a lot of babies. So anyone
Wow.
who tells me that the full moon doesn't have an effect on human behavior,
Well,
they
it's
should have hung
water.
out with
It made
me.
everybody's water break.
All these babies want. You know what it is? All these babies wanted to be born at the same time. I'm looking what kind of wonderful configuration was going on that they all wanted to be born in this.
It was like Lord of the
time.
Flies.
Lord of the Rings. I don't know what
You know,
Lord.
all these children
Oh,
that are
Lord.
out there. You know.
Oh Lord. So anyway, getting back to, I want to ask Jocelyn about, were you a natural reader? Did you just teach yourself, or how did you get to love reading?
My parents are passionate readers. My mom reads a lot of fiction. My dad reads a lot of nonfiction. I always joke with him because he loves to read stuff about the Civil War. Every time he tells me he's reading a book about the Civil War, I'm like, okay, I won't spoil the ending for you.
That's why the people that read biblical things, I'm like, I already know the ending.
I got the ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother is a total Gemini, right? She reads the ending of every book just in case she doesn't get to the end.
Gosh, I used to do that with all my Judy Blume books back in the day. And then she cried. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I like Judy Blume.
I love Judy.
I love
Tiger
Judy
Eyes.
Blume.
Are
Yeah.
you there, God? Is
Louisa
it
May
Margaret?
Alcott too. I loved her as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That was
absolutely.
the Harry Potter books of the day, the Little Women.
You're right.
Yes, absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
classic.
And Paula Danziger was also a wonderful teenage girl writer.
Yeah.
That she was just wonderful. Just wonderful.
So tell me, was it your parents who you just saw them reading, or they read to you, or you had a reading time, or you read books together, or how did that work for people who maybe didn't have a mother who read to them?
I would
Like
say
me.
I'd say it was a combination of all of those. My mother did read to me when I was very little. I picked up reading, I think, when I was 3 or 4 because of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I had an interest in writing since I can since
Isn't that wonderful that you have that ability to express yourself in writing?
yeah, and it is not an easy gift for some people.
No, it's a discipline.
As I've learned, I've met people who have a very difficult time writing out their thoughts. They're great speakers, but trying to put it down on paper, it's very,
So
very
that
hard
it's
for them.
legible, readable.
Yeah,
Oh,
or-
yeah.
yeah.
I read doctors' handwriting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
yeah,
you do.
It's very important, I mean, when I read something, I can always tell when I'm about to fall into a book, and that is when I read the first paragraph.
Oh.
And I'm like, I got to read more.
Yeah,
But then
it's
there's
the
other
hook.
books, I look at the first paragraph and I think,
Yeah, it's not your style, or just different writers have different speech patterns and different ways of
and
connecting.
it's getting that
and-
first sentence.
Yeah, if they can hook you, they call it the hook.
Yeah.
The first line's
Yeah,
the hook.
that's
Hooker
true.
Yeah,
lines.
one of
But
my
sometimes
favorite
you
is
have to
last
keep
night I
reading,
remembered,
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
back to Manderley from Rebecca. Do you remember that one?
Oh,
that-
gosh,
Last night I
yes.
dreamt I returned to Mandalay. Mandalay. It's not Mandalay, it's Manderley.
Yeah, I want to say Mandalay. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm from
It's-
Vegas.
No, I want to say Mandalay.
Okay, Manderley is an estate in England.
Yeah.
Mandalay is a casino in Vegas.
Yes, I know.
That is hilarious.
Oh, and by the way, there is a
But
place
Laurence
in
Olivier
Thailand
would look
called-
fabulous in both.
Oh, you got that right.
That movie was just
Right on.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I love. It's one of my favorite. Films.
That was fun. So, with my son, with my kids, because my mom really didn't read very much to us, but with my son, we did the Harry Potter. And every summer we
yeah.
had to get 2 books because he had one at camp and I had one here in Vegas. And we couldn't share the book because then when he come back from camp in Minnesota, we'd have to talk.
Wow. Yeah, I know Harry Potter had that effect on a
Oh.
lot of people. A lot of people love J.K. Rowling.
Oh,
Yeah.
her writing is fantastic.
Yeah.
She uses she draws from so many different elements.
Yes, yeah.
And everything it's all linked. It's beautiful. I love it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I also wanted to ask you about, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have one brother.
Uh-huh. And does he like to read?
Not as much. Not like me. He's more into TV.
Oh,
he likes
okay.
to visual. I love TV too. I won't deny that.
But there is something about when you are reading, you are in your own world.
Exactly, yes.
And I made my children read the Harry Potter book before we saw the movie.
Oh,
and do
wow.
you know what? The first thing they said when they came out?
It's not like the book at all.
The book was so much better.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
8 years old.
Yes.
Oh, the book was so much better. Because I told them your
it's a different
imagination,
world,
you're using
yeah.
your imagination.
Yeah. It's
And
very hard.
nobody can, your imagination is everyone's
You can't
imagination
beat
is the best.
that.
You can't beat that.
Right. I think it's easier to take a short
George
story.
Lucas, sorry, you're just never going to, what is that called? DreamWorks, or what do they call that? That's the company that he has. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway.
Lucasfilm.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you were a kid, what was your favorite book? Do you have a book that you remember when you were little?
When I was little Women. Like I was
Little
mentioning.
Women.
Yeah,
How old were you when you read that?
Maybe about 8 or 9. It was before, I should have been reading that novel.
Yeah,
I was
that's a
also
big book.
And as strange as it sounds, I was also reading Stephen King at that time because my parents loved
I
Stephen
love
King.
Stephen.
Wow.
I
So I
read
read-
so many books by Stephen King.
We were reading The Stand when the MGM Grand Fire happened.
Wow.
Wow.
If that really says
That's
something about the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Isn't that
does.
funny? She marks time by what book she was reading. For
That's
me, it's
so
like
funny.
what lipstick I was wearing that day.
That's like clothes and music for me.
Clothes and music. Exactly.
It's
Music
true.
for me.
I'm like, this is 1986. That's so 1986.
Oh, that's so
If it looks
19.
horrible, it's like, this is so 1986.
Yeah.
Everything horrible came out in 1986. Clothes, music, everything was horrible.
Really?
Well,
Was that
also,
the worst year of the 80s?
I think it was really the worst year of the 80s, 1986.
okay. We'll have to talk
Really
about that
was.
more, 'cause I'm just curious about
Oh,
that.
it was horrible.
That was the year I was engaged to my husband.
Oh, wow.
I told you no.
No, that was
That
a
was
good
a
year
good-
for
that's
me.
a good
But
year for
again,
you.
with astrology, people have their peaks and their valleys.
Right.
No one is always going to be, flying at their
Yeah.
peak,
Yeah.
So,
I remember when I was a kid, my dad would read me Boxcar Children, which I absolutely adore.
oh, my kids love that.
And Meg and the Magic Witches. I don't know if you know Meg and the Magic Witches.
I remember The Littles. Do you remember The Littles?
Don't remember the Littles.
I can't remember the author, but man, I used to love those books.
But
Wow.
another thing did your parents take you to the library?
Yes.
Yes,
All
the
the
time.
time.
We used to
My-
go down to the Clark County one on Flamingo. I mean, like every week, every
Yeah.
Saturday, we were in that
My
library.
husband does that on Sunday morning with my daughter, and it's wonderful. They just go and they sit on the floor of the kids' part, and it's just their bonding time. And I'm very proud of that my daughter and my husband have that relationship, that they can share books
absolutely.
and reading. So
Yeah.
I remember my mom
Fabulous.
volunteered at our school library. I was so excited. I mean,
How
this is
nice.
in 1972. So I walked in and she's in her little, tweed mini skirt with the zigzags and her that girl hair, and her white lipstick and her white Evan Picone. See, I define everything by clothes and,
It's the
but
fashion.
seeing her there was so exciting. And
Yeah.
she went on in her career to be a teacher and a lawyer. And, she did really well for
Right
herself.
on.
So, it was
Reading
oh,
is fundamental.
It
It
is.
is.
It really is.
if you can read, you can do anything, especially if you can read the instructions to the thing you just bought, right?
And with the internet now, it's so controversial because kids will watch a YouTube before they'll read an article.
Right.
Or they'll
Yeah.
go to Audible, and a lot of the millennials will go to Audible before they'll actually read a book. So somebody said, "Oh, I just read the Dawkins trilogy, this weekend." I'm like, he's like, "Oh, I just, listened to Audible all weekend." I mean, is that really the same as,
I will
it's-
listen
yeah.
to Audible if I'm driving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it
when I'm
serves
driving
its
to LA.
purpose. Yeah. But
And I
mean,
can get a book done.
Right.
I mean,
know.
is that the same thing as, your attention span and your imagination and keeping it? I mean, I don't know. I'm
You know,
kinda
my
torn
husband
with
and I
that
have
a
talked
little bit.
about the reading, the difference between reading it like in a Kindle and reading in a book. My
Yes,
husband
there's a
likes
big
the
difference.
feel of the page. He likes the smell of the book. He likes the turning of the pages. He really can't stand the Kindle, and I love the Kindle.
I like both, but I'll tell you when I think about what I've read, if I've read it in a book form, I'll remember where I was when I was reading it. That memory comes to mind.
Wow.
When I'm trying
Interesting.
to reflect on the Kindle, it doesn't come back because it's thousands of things that I've read, so I don't get a clear
Interesting.
perspective. Yeah, it was really
Interesting.
really interesting, like how our memories work.
Well,
and-
the visual.
yeah, the visual. I'm very visually
um,
oriented, apparently.
Yeah. I read a book called Lost Souls by Poppy Z. Bright.
Oh, yeah, it's a great one.
It's
Yeah.
a great book. And I read it, and it's about New Orleans, but there's also a North Carolina kind of,
Yeah,
vibe
feel
to it
to
as well.
that, yeah.
And I was on I remember where I was reading it from on the train from Washington D.C. to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I'm all,
wow.
this is great,
Yeah.
because you get the vibe and they're traveling and you're traveling and the train is moving and you're moving, and it's just such a passionate kind of book, and it's a great read. I read it over and over again. That's one thing I just love.
Cool.
I remember when my aunt and uncle were driving to my uncle's first assignment in the Air Force in Alabama. So they're driving through the Midwest, my aunt and uncle in this, the 68 maybe? And my aunt is reading In Cold Blood as they're going through Kansas.
Wow. That's a memory.
Great book.
So when you were talking about reading the book while you're there,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
My sister couldn't read in the car, and,
I
read
can't.
something and was like, I'm getting nauseous. I could read anywhere.
Yeah, I can't. I'll do like knitting. I do knitting, but reading is, I like to be still. It's that stillness that I really get into with reading.
Yeah.
It's centering and grounding.
Yeah, it is very grounding. Yeah, I like to read sometimes in coffee shops, sometimes at home. I can travel. I like to read on airplanes. I've done a lot of really good reading on airplanes.
Do you remember? I remember when my kids were little and they learned to read, and they read everything.
Yeah.
Exit, open.
Oh,
men, women. It's like, please, I can read.
Curiosity there.
So funny.
Tell us how, I'm kind of circling back to Helen again because I have such interest in this.
Yeah.
But how does that differentiate between other magazines and literary journals and whatnot that's out there? How does Helen stand out?
Well, locally, we publish a lot of art in our magazine. We also consider ourselves a magazine and not a journal. The difference being that we are a little bit more focused on commercial and commercialism as opposed to being affiliated officially with a university or a college.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Reviewed.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
so.
yeah. And I still hope to be peer reviewed,
course,
but
of course.
we're a little bit more focused on trying to be a profitable business. We're not right now, but if you want to advertise with us, go to our website.
Please say that again. If you want to advertise with Helen,
go to our website, helenpresents.com, and you can check out our advertising page. Give us an email at advertising@helenpresents.com, and we'll accommodate you.
Yeah, and you know what would be great?
it is
if
so
we could find
affordable.
some.
Can I just say right now, it is so affordable to advertise with Helen. You need to talk to Jocelyn about this. We're not going to go on the air with this, but you need to talk to Jocelyn about this, because if you are a business and you are looking for people who love the written word, even if you're an unconventional business, you need to talk to Jocelyn.
Yes,
this is a magazine that is not only just in its infancy, but I see such potential in this. This is going to take off, people. I'm telling you, get in on the ground level of advertising with this magazine. I am not kidding you. You need to look at this absolutely gorgeous magazine with written word. It's an intelligent magazine. It's a vehicle for art and literature, and that's something that you're just not going to find here. You see, it's like, are you going to invest in a magazine where you're going to get lost in the classifieds or Craigslist where you're never going to be found, or do you want your business and your advertising funds and co-ops to go toward a magazine that's going to grow, that is read by an intelligent, high-end, high-bracket, people? So I think that
this is
Helen
the Thinking Woman's
magazine.
magazine.
Yes, it's a thinking person's magazine.
And if you are, one of my fabulous friends, then you too are a thinking person.
Absolutely.
And you have to read this magazine.
If you are hearing our voice.
If you hear our voice.
You need to advertise. And what's the perfect submission? I know that you have a certain way of doing it, but what do you look for? I guess that's kind of a broad spectrum question.
It is, but I can try to answer it as best as possible.
Sure.
We look for something that kind of captures the spirit of Southern Nevada. And I know that's kind of hard to say, but just
interesting.
Trying to define it.
Yeah, like a theme of hope and perseverance, I think, is the best way.
Excellent.
That we've learned to. Yeah, so if your submission has that and is polished, fairly polished, we'll take it seriously. We'll look at it.
Now, I have a big question. Why did you pick the name Helen?
Okay, so it is named after, and Carrie O'Connor, our poetry editor, was the one who came up with this. She's like, if we're going to do a magazine about Las Vegas, we should name it after Helen Stewart. She's the first lady of Las Vegas.
Right on.
Isn't
Yes.
that amazing?
I love Helen Stewart.
Yes.
She really was
A pioneer.
ground zero
Oh, gosh,
for
yes.
the charitable works
That too.
that go on in this city.
Yeah.
And Helen has those charitable works going on.
Yes.
Yes.
Friends of the Fort is still around.
Friends of
Friends of the Fort.
Friends of the Fort.
Yes.
Yes. And wasn't that her first
That was
house?
Yeah, that's where she
Yeah.
lived. Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Tell us about what that fort is in case, I mean, we're global right now. So tell people what Friends of the Fort is and what the fort is here in Las Vegas
In Las
and what it
Vegas.
means to Las Vegas.
Well, it was built, it's called the Old Mormon Fort because it was built by the Mormons. And then they left, went back to Utah. And then Helen Stewart's family at the time took it over. And it was only supposed to be temporarily. But her husband was killed. He was shot. She was pregnant. She had 3 daughters, I think, and
This is
pregnant
she's
with a
really a
son.
heroine.
Yeah, she is, because she had to, survive in the desert. I mean, in Las Vegas, it was nothing.
Oh, well, when I moved here 18 years ago, I could totally relate somehow to how Helen felt of like, where am I?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of funny because Las Vegas is filled with single moms right now that are looking, that are struggling just like Helen did. So I think that is a
interesting.
great.
Right.
I mean, we really are. I mean, we have. It's a huge. We have a huge diverse community here. A very
do.
transient ones.
Yes,
but the
that
ones
too.
that stay, we're filled with single moms with 3 kids. So
Hope and perseverance.
Yeah, hope
absolutely,
and perseverance.
absolutely.
And yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And with talking about Helen, you have a poetry contest coming up
Yes,
as well.
yes,
in her
and
name.
it's open to all Clark.
Contest?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Helen Stewart Poetry Award.
Whopping $5 to submit.
Yes.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Really?
You submit 3 poems, and
This
you
coffee
you could
was
sub-
more than $5.
Yeah.
So
So how does this work? I want to submit a haiku.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's go
Haiku.
to our website.
Haiku.
We do the
What's
submissions.
your website again?
It's a helenpresents.com.
www.helenpresents. I'm writing this down on my maxi pad.
And there's a place called Contest. If you go to that tab, you'll see where it says it'll talk about the contest.
Okay.
3 poems for $5. Half of those
deal.
proceeds go to the Friends of the Fort to help them with their arts and education programs for the community. It's only for
Friends of the
Clark
Fort.
County residents.
Okay.
So it's you really have a good chance of.
So if you have a good poem, send it to me and then I'll submit it, all right?
you know what I think we should do?
And I'll split
as
the
your-
winnings.
As your producer, I think that we should bring the winner on.
oh,
And
that
bring
would
it
be
back
great.
on and have the winner do their poem here
That would
on
be
the air
great, yeah.
globally. Because
So
we're
I'm going
everywhere.
to be getting my award on my own show, right?
Yes, that's right. That's
convenient.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. And stick
Yeah,
around. We're
thanks.
going to take a quick break. And we have Mary Jo coming
Mary
up.
Jo
Mary
in the
Jo
know.
in the know.
Our East Coast correspondent.
That's right. On Voices in Vegas. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to Voices in Vegas with Susan and friends. We have April and we have Jocelyn today from Helen Magazine.
Yay.
Oh, we're having so much fun.
And we're on Periscope right now. So if you're live and you're watching, we're on Periscope.
We're on Periscope.
Being silly.
I'm giving some props to the Trojans
Yeah, there you go. We got some listeners.
because I really have to I'm very torn here. My favorite nephew is Bear Riddell. He's number 41 for the UCLA Bruins, and I am thrilled over the moon. Even though I am a Trojan, I'm a Helen of Troy kind of girl. I still have to give props. I'm so proud of him, and I'm so proud of my cousin and my uncles and the whole family. He's such a fantastic kid. Go Bear.
Well, speaking of bears, let's not leave her hanging. We got Mary Jo Paulson
Mary
on
Jo!
the phone.
Hi, ladies.
Hello, Mary Jo in the know. How are
It's
you?
so good to talk to you. We have forecast of rain for the next 5 days on the East Coast.
Oh, I wish
You
I
are
was
the
at your
ray
house.
of sunshine that I need today to keep me going
Oh,
rather
well,
than to go back to bed. So thank you.
You are our ray of sunshine, Miss Mary Jo. Say hi to Jocelyn.
Hello.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Mary Jo's a big
I'm
reader.
doing great.
In fact, she's the one that gives me books to read.
What are you reading right now, Mary Jo?
I just finished reading a great book called The Promise of a Pencil by Adam Brown.
Ooh.
It's a nonfiction about a Wall Street guy, 25-year-old, who had a passion for travel and wasn't satisfied with being on Wall Street. So he wanted to, in his travels, he always asked little children, what would you want if you could have one thing? And their answer overwhelmingly was a pencil. So it's a story of how an extraordinary person can create extraordinary change.
You know what? We saw something. This is another theme today. Remember that volunteer car we saw? One job.
Just one volunteer, just one.
I don't know what it was. It was a really wild car, but it was about just one volunteer project.
You know, it said it all over the Fakakta car, and both of us thought we're going to remember that. We'll remember it.
I even told Mary Jo, hurry up, speed up. I want to throw them a high sign or something.
So come on, let's keep going here. So
this week
I want to talk about Broadway on a budget. Okay.
I love it. Broadway on a budget.
Another one of my passions is Broadway on a budget. I love. Susan knows I've been going to Broadway for over 20 years.
I am so jealous. When I go to visit Mary Jo, I always go to Broadway with her. I'm so blessed. Go on.
It's so fab. So So there's what I've done it all. I've paid 3 times over face value of the ticket. I've paid, up to 60% less of ticket value price. So it's all about, following trends and knowing, trying to get tickets to hot new shows while they're still in previews but close to the official opening date.
Is this how Scott gets tickets?
Last week, I saw Spring Awakening on Saturday night. It opened officially on Sunday night, and let me tell you, it blew me away.
I saw the previews for it that you had sent on
Tell
Twitter.
me.
Oh my God!
Tell me.
I've got to see this show.
Tell me about this show.
So it was on its run in 2007 for 2 years. It won a whole bunch of Tony nominations. The composer and the lyricist won Tony Awards. So they decided to revive it with a rock adaptation of an 1890s coming-to-age story of adolescence. And, we all know what adolescence is filled with, angst. And the little twist to it is that it's performed by half deaf and half singing actors.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So the preview
take
looked
that
incredible.
in for a sec.
Wow. Yeah, let me absorb that. Yeah, wow.
The first few minutes, I was sitting in the theater. I was like, "What in the what?"
Are you looking at Scott saying, "Dude, why did you bring me here?"
What?
But who's in it? I mean, Marlee Matlin is in it. Yes.
Marlee Matlin plays one of the adult characters. Cameron Manheim,
yes,
Emmy
from
winner
The Practice.
Oh, I like her.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, she was fabulous. But really, the youth actors, the young actors who played all of the roles in this fabulous story, they just had so much energy and they brought so much to the roles because it was a very stark stage and a lot going on, kind of like how it was in Rent, kind of like how it was in Hedwig and the Angry Inch, another Broadway musical.
Great musical.
Do you see
Wonderful musical. I love
she
that
throws them
musical.
out like, I've seen this, and I'm like, oh.
I saw that in
can I live
London.
with
That's
you?
a wonderful, wonderful play.
It was cool because, for example, the young female protagonist, Wendla, is played by a deaf actor who has to sign her lines. But then her singing co-part had an acoustic guitar right next to her. And it was just so beautiful. And
wow.
it was really, some people didn't like the fact that I was with, by the way, my two partners in crime, Scott, who's also a friend of the show, and Bill.
Yay! Hi, Scott.
They were just like, what? And especially, my husband, he couldn't follow the first 5
Bill.
seconds. but that's okay because
Billy.
that's why he married me.
Yes.
That's right.
That's right. He
You
did
keep
marry
it exciting.
But it's not a smooth play. It's not a feel good play.
It's
which
thought-provoking.
Some people, it's very thought provoking, and it's not a smooth transition from teen to adulthood. 2 of the 3 main characters don't make it. But
Oh, wow.
4-piece band, guitar and piano driven score aids to this complexity of the theme, and it also the music, the high energy. Darkness adds to the darkness, and then the lighting of the play with the soft piano and the soft acoustic guitar brought out the light of the players. It was just so beautiful. I just loved it.
Nice.
The opening song that I sent you, Mama Who Bore Me, kind of set it up. Like, they were asked, the lead character is asking her mother, where did I come from? Where do babies come from? And then,
that's right up my alley.
The mother doesn't answer. It's all about sexual repression and what that non-communication between generations leads to more and more problems.
Right.
So it was pretty moving, and like I said, it wasn't a smooth play, but it was very, very thought-provoking. So
Well, that's
I just
wonderful. So tell me, did you go out to dinner anywhere afterwards?
What we did was
This is the best part.
usually my friend Scott is in on business.
Tell us who Scott
once
is.
a quarter. And
Tell us
so
who
we
Scott
just
is.
We nosh. We pick up appetizers and then we go back to his room and we just nosh and just discuss the play ad nauseum. So
Scott is Bill's best friend. He's very erudite, very sophisticated, extremely well-educated, well-traveled, well-read. And when Mary Jo and Bill go to Broadway, it's not just the play. It's an experience.
Okay, it sounds like it, yeah.
Yes, because they do so many other more interesting things. And Mary Jo is always on the cutting edge of what is,
That's hot.
what's hot. So that's why
I
she's
think
my fabulous
this has
friend
all-
and my
this has
East Coast
Tony-
correspondent. What?
this has Tony written all over it.
Tony who?
The Tony
Tony.
Awards.
The Tony.
Oh, the Tony. Hey, are you wearing the red shirt?
Yeah, I was wearing a red shirt when I saw it, and it has Tony all written all over it. However, I'm moving on because I want to see Hamilton, and I just don't. My comfort level for buying tickets 9 months in advance.
Yeah.
What's Hamilton?
Hamilton is the hottest new show that
You heard it first.
It's about Alexander Hamilton, and it's a historical accounting.
Let's get
by
tickets.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, another Tony Award winning producer and actor. He wrote In the Heights and produced it and starred in it about 7 years ago. And it's a hip hop. It's history set to hip hop. And it was in the
Very
British Theater
cool.
We need to take
for
Voices in Vegas on the
about
road.
9 months, and then now it's
totally.
moved on to
Road trip.
Broadway. And sold until June of 2016. The only way to get tickets is when they release blocks of tickets, next summer. And I just
Well, I don't know. Do you have? Did April send you a press pass so that you can get tickets to go and review this for our show?
it's probably coming in the mail today.
Oh,
I haven't
good.
looked in my mailbox yet, April, but I'm probably getting it in the mail today.
Wow, that sounds like a great show.
Yeah, it is. And I'll probably, if I break down, you don't get any discount on the price. It's just the availability. And every time I say that, I just think of 3 words: Book of Mormon. I didn't buy, 11 months in advance, and I'm not going to pay $400 for a balcony ticket to see Book of Mormon. I'm sorry.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, they're going to make it into a movie and it'll be on Netflix very soon.
That's true, but I don't have Netflix.
Oh, how could you survive without Netflix? Oh my gosh.
She reads.
That's my TV.
You'll have to convert me in November.
We're going to call you to the Torah.
Yeah, but I was thinking of you guys. over the weekend, and I wanted to share that little clip on YouTube. There's a bunch of clips from when the star of Glee was in it in 2007. Wow. Leah Michelle, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And she was in it, in the original. It's fabulous. If you get a chance to see it in New York, it's great. When it goes on national tour with this Deaf West company, which is based out of LA, a company that produces productions with deaf actors, it's just something that blew me away, that I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. It was cool.
Oh, that's great.
That sounds wonderful. I hope that comes to Vegas. That would be really neat.
Yeah, and I'm so glad
experience.
we have the Smith Center. I really can see that Vegas is starting to get more, world-class entertainment, cultural, for the indigenous people, not just for the Strip, but for people who live here, 365 days a year. Because we raise children and we have lives. I mean, when I grew up in LA, we always just thought of Las Vegas as the Strip. But I think that more with the Smith Center and plays coming from Broadway, and it's always great to have the review from Mary Jo, because you know that when the traveling companies come, time to get your tickets.
So, Mary Jo,
I did see Avenue Q in Vegas this day.
Oh, I did too. I loved Avenue Q.
That's great.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, barely, but yeah, I did.
Mary Jo came to visit me, and
it was great.
Yeah. We went with my mother babysat her daughters, and we took my son and his girlfriend and Mary Jo, and we saw Avenue Q at the Wynn, and we had dinner at across the street, and we went in and saw the show, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, listen, thank you so much for calling in. We had a great time talking to you.
We can't wait to talk to you again. You're going to have to, can people tweet you, or do you want them to tweet us and then we tweet you?
People can tweet me. I love it. I love everything Broadway.
How can they find you?
I'm a Broadway geek. Just so you know, my next show that I actually have tickets to is Andrew Lloyd Webber's new musical, the Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh my!
Did we just talk about Dysfunction Junction the bill? I'm just a bill.
Gosh. So
how on the hill?
How can they tweet you, Mary Jo?
I'm at Missy Paulus.
Okay, and we will tweet you on Voices in Vegas and also put it on our website so people can find you.
Oh, I love you, Mary Jo.
You do some great tweets. I always love your tweets.
Oh, I love your tweets.
And we love you.
Tweet.
Love you. Have a great day, ladies.
Thank you so much
for
calling in. Well, wow, we're almost at the end of our hour here.
How did that happen?
I know.
It just goes by so fast.
If people are looking to get a hold of us in Voices in Vegas, they can do so by going to voicesinvegas.com. They can find us at Twitter at Voices in Vegas, as well as emailing us at, you guessed it, voicesinvegas@gmail.com. And let's give our wonderful, fabulous friend, Jocelyn, a hand.
Thank you so much. It was great being here.
Tell us how we can get a hold of you and find Helen Magazine, a literary magazine.
Okay, well, you can find us on the web at helenpresents.com. You can also find our issues locally at the Writer's Block, Jana's Red Room, and Books Are Books.
Wonderful.
Where's the Writer's Block?
It's off of Fremont Street and 10th Street, I believe is the exact
Fremont
location.
and 10th. And where's the other place?
Jana's Red Room is in the Arts Factory.
Factory.
And First Friday is this Friday.
Yes,
so if you're going to go down there,
check it out.
Go to Jana's Red Room, see her fabulous art. Jana's a fabulous lady.
Yes, she is wonderful.
And pick up an issue of Helen Magazine.
And if you want to see us, we'll probably be down there.
We will be down there. Absolutely.
And I'll sign, autographs,
Pictures.
Pictures.
She'll do anything for a
your
buck.
Arm, your baby.
Thank you so much again for tuning in to Voices in Vegas with Susan Feldman, the fabulous Jocelyn Paige Kelly. I am April Freed.
Thank you, April.
We will see you next
Thanks,
Wednesday
Jocelyn.
at 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
Have a fabulous week. Thanks for tuning in.